Episode 77, The Whole Murphy Family Goes to Europe. This episode features a wonderful family vacation to France and Ireland, and also a 1989 letter I wrote to my brother, Gary, afterwards. He lived and worked in Paris, France. Jean and I took our family on this long and expensive vacation in 1989 after getting paid a fat and unexpected commission of $12,000. We blew the whole thing. In France, Gary and his family welcomed us with great love and hospitality. We saw Paris as if we were natives, and then we went to the land of my grandparents, Ireland. We flew from Charles de Gaulle Airport to Dublin's airport. We rented a big right-hand-sided steering wheel van. The Irish drive oppositely to the way Americans drive. They drive on the left side of the road. As we drove from the car rental place out of the airport, we came quickly to a rotary. Being used to driving in the USA, I went the wrong way around the rotary. It was frightening. Throughout the trip, I continually drifted over to the right side of the road on those cowpath-type Mick roads. My kids in the back were tasked with the duty to watch me, and when I began to do that, warned me by shouting, "Left, Dad, left." It became mostly an ongoing laughing joke, but sometimes such drifting to the wrong side of the road was dangerous, especially at rotaries, or roundabouts as they're called in Ireland. We went to County Kerry and the town of great Irish music, Dingle, and then went to Brandon, the location from where St. Brendan the Navigator left to discover America long before Columbus. We looked down from a high cliff into the raging, churning Atlantic Ocean and wondered how he was able to manage that. Brendan's craft was a curragh, a small cowhide boat with a sail. Then we went to Killarney, Tralee, and then to County Galway and the Connemara Peninsula, and Roundstone, the most beautiful place in Ireland in my estimation. Many other wonderful Irish towns and areas were also visited and enjoyed. We Murphys have 2 Irish counties and 2 towns as homelands for our grandparents. County Cork with Buttevant for our grandfather Patrick Joseph Murphy, and County Roscommon with Athlone for our grandmother Catherine Dignan. We did some investigating of the Murphy origins in Cork mostly because it was not as well known by us as the County Roscommon Dignan side was. You will hear comments in the following letter to my brother regarding both grandparents' origin. May 1989. Dear Gary and Annie, we really appreciated your splendid hospitality. Our visit was made so much better because of your going out of your way. Annie's meals are the equal of the best restaurants in the world. Kieran's bubbliness kept us chuckling. The inside dope from Gary and Neil regarding Paris's secrets and the long walking tours that you and I took around the city were worth the sore feet. Ursula and Kate loved it all as Jean, Jenny, and I did. The twins are signing up for Honors French next year in preparation for their trip back to Paris. Regarding our trip to Buttevant, etc., let me preface it by admitting I have no proof of my theory. We went to Buttevant and talked to an old-timer who was 85, named Pat Murphy. What else? He owned a grocery store in the town for 40 years. He said there was only one other Murphy in town, and him with no kids. The grocery Murphy was originally from Westcourt. The other Murphy we did not find. I asked Agata where Boharash was located. That is the certificate location of Pat Murphy's birth, Boharash, Buttevant, Cork. He directed me to a small group of houses south of Buttevant towards Marlow, about 1.5 miles. There was no signs and no stores, just a burp on the road. We went onto a side road, found an old farm and some old concrete-faced homes, and took some pictures. Maybe a family named Cunningham on that road told us they could remember no Murphys in the area, but that there was an old ruin on the main highway which hadn't been used for years, and Mr. Cunningham vaguely remembered Murphys being associated with that house. He also said that Lord Donneray owned everything around there. His estate was in Donneray, which coincidentally was where our B&B was located. We went to the ruin described by the Cunninghams and found a field with a few new houses going up. The ruin was gone. We then went to the Buttevant Church, but could not find a priest to quiz. We went to Donneray, which is east about 4 miles from Buttevant. The state had taken or was given the Lord Donneray estate, which is a very large parkland with landscaped gardens, brooks, and forests. I remember a story that first great-grandfather Con Murphy and then grandfather Pat Murphy, who succeeded him, both ran the stables and horses for the ascendancy English lord. The only lord in the area was Lord Donneray, according to local people. This Lord Donneray was a S.O.B., according to a B&B lady. She said he was one for the ladies. He would make them service him, or else he would throw them out of their rented houses. She also said that there were many illegitimate Donneраys around, unclaimed by the family, and that there were probably more than one Lord Donneray. We went to the manor house, which was huge and made of stone with many acres and outbuildings, including very large stone stables, which still had all their walls but no roofs. There was a gatehouse and another large gate into the stable area. Later, at the Bunratty Folk Park, which is a recreation of an Irish village circa 1880 to 1900, an older guide who knew some history answered my questions about where would the head stableman fit in the hierarchy of employees and townspeople in a village like Donneray. She said that he would probably be considered quite high among Catholics and have lived in the gatehouse. She also said that Lord Donneray was almost surely English and not Irish. My theory is that Pat was the stable manager and horse trainer for jumpers, probably. He was born about 5 miles away and probably lived at the estate. Your story of him killing 3 Brits because of a horse or cow being killed by mistake could be true. Why else would he leave what was probably considered a great job? The British troops were quartered in County Cork at Charles Fort, at Kinsale, and elsewhere at that time, and were a big presence, I would think. If he did kill those Brits with his bare hands, he probably would have been executed immediately and then given a fair trial, maybe. I'm glad he's skedaddled anyway. I would not want to be an Irishman born in Ireland. The opportunities are so limited. That is my theory. I'm going to try to find out more about Donneray and see if the state has employee records from the estate. If you have any thoughts on this, let me know. Thanks again for making our vacation go so well. Love, Rod. P.S. Athlone was a big disappointment for me in many ways. Although I fished illegally in the Shannon River, right where our grandmother Kate fished before me, my romantic dreams about the Hill of Berries in Athlone were shattered. I would have left that place quick, also, if I were born a Dignan. This is Rod Murphy. Thank you for viewing or listening to my podcast episodes. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, and if you so choose, I ask you to send a good review and or refer a friend who might be interested in this Old Boston podcast series. Again, my thanks.